guys, so check it out. So today we got Alex Jones and the dangers of aspartame. This is actually the danger of like grocery foods. Now, I haven't watched this video yet, but I'm going to do a little breakdown of it. It's only 240p, so 240p we meet again. I haven't seen 240p in a very, very long time on a YouTube video, so this video is quite old. And yeah, Infowars.com, that's like his website, guys. This is basically conspiracy theories and stuff like that, but yeah, basically not conspiracy theories, but basically just like questioning why the government has made certain substances legal and not illegal. So let's get straight into it, guys. I have a background in actually food. Well, I have a personal training certificate, and like 2 months of that was solely devoted to nutrition. So hopefully I can break down some of this information, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, go check out my Patreon. Love you guys all, and let's get it on the dangers of aspartame. Aspartame causes cancer, apparently. Let's go.
My friends, the information that you are about to witness from all of my years of research is the most important. It's been hidden in plain view the entire time. This is the ultimate secret. It's about to be exposed.
The ultimate food secret exposed.
I have hundreds of government documents, textbooks, white papers, where for over 80 years...
Hold on a second. Diet, injectables, and injunctions will combine from a very early age to produce the sort of character the authorities consider desirable. So yeah, they're basically trying to... Bertrand Russell, The Impact of Science on Society, in 1953. So they already knew back in the day that injectables, diets, and injunctions, like basically, you know, things like in society is what's gonna regulate the people.
The elite of the Western world have talked about adulterating food and water to sicken and sterilize the population for the purpose of eugenics. It's all covered in the book Eco Science, written by the White House science czar John P. Holdren, where they talk about a planetary police state to carry out the forced sterilization. They also talk about...
Yeah, obviously men are losing fertilization a lot recently, guys. Like in the last 50 years, I think it's decreased by like 50% or something like that. It's like every year it goes down like 1% or something, the amount of you know, fertility in dudes. So that'll probably eventually come to zero, and then we're pretty much screwed. Like no one's gonna be able to reproduce. So
covert systems in the water and food to sterilize the population. Now this was written decades ago, before he was White House science czar. Now suddenly the stuff in this book is all over the news. They're selling it to the public as if it's a good thing. You see here before you what an average person would buy when they went shopping at the store. Not everything here is bad for you, but much of it has compounds and artificial chemicals that have been added that are extremely toxic and bad for your health.
Yeah, so basically any kind of food that's not meat or fruit and veg is pretty much bad for you guys. You guys already know that. I've already preached that on this channel. I preach a low carbohydrate diet, which, to be honest, guys, I don't really mind if you eat carbs. I've had 2 croissants today and a plant, what the hell do you call it, French kind of plat, kind of pecan plat, and I feel really good, guys. Like I feel, you know, still feel good. I can still work out and stuff like that, but definitely low carbs is better, and sticking to a whole foods diet. If you deviate from that even a little bit, guys, it starts to get tricky. You know what I mean? It starts to come to a point where maybe you're not able to stick to the food groups as much, things like that. So definitely stick to whole foods diet, guys.
And they have known this the entire time, and they have approved them for use. Let's start with aspartame. You cannot go to the grocery store now and buy any type of even regular sugar gum that
I don't eat gum.
Hasn't had aspartame added to it. In the 1970s, Searle tried to get it approved, and they couldn't. It took them 3 separate times. Because
3 separate times.
In their own studies with monkeys, large portions of them that were fed it died and contracted cancer. Now we have...
Yeah, guys, I try and not have diet anything. I try not to eat sugar. See, this is the problem, guys. Everyone's like, don't, you know, I would die without carbs. Well, the thing about carbs and stuff, guys, is like, you know, it's probably better than having like aspartame and like loads of sugar-free stuff. I'm just gonna drink a ton of Monster and get my energy from caffeine and energy drinks. Guys, that's not naturally like good, right? Because aspartame is mixed in with all that shit. Now, if you have it from coffee and stuff, it's arguable. It's probably a lot better. It's probably good for you, right? Coffee is probably good for you. But if you get like all your stuff, all your carbs and shit from like, you know, whatever, like Diet Coke or like, you know, Coke, it all has aspartame added into it. Even if it's not Diet Coke, it still has aspartame in it, which is just ridiculous. So still not a good option, being a ton of carbs every single day.
Of mainstream news articles, and the EU has done a major study finding lower birth weights, early birth, and yes, miscarriages from women that drink aspartame-laden soft drinks.
That's not good.
Like Coke Zero. What is aspartame? It is the fecal matter of the E. coli bacteria. They took it and genetically engineered it. They can feed it toxic waste, and then it defecates aspartame.
It's the fecal matter of a parasite, of genetically modified parasite. Wow, that's insane, guys.
And it has so many bad health effects, it's just unspeakable.
I believe it, guys. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, oh, it doesn't cause cancer, all these studies. Guys, it doesn't take, you don't need a fucking study. Like look at the people that drink all these drinks and shit. Like, I don't, hopefully, you know, I don't drink these fucking soft drinks, guys. I actually, on holidays now, for some reason, I've started drinking lime Pepsi with zero calories. But I drink maybe like 1 glass a day. Like, I really try and limit that, like, to like complete limit, guys. Like, really try and limit aspartame. Everyone's like, oh, aspartame is fine, all these things. Guys, I'm telling you guys, that shit is not fine. You can't be drinking these super sweet drinks without some sort of negative health benefits. It just logically just doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, keep drinking. Brain seizures. Yeah, don't be dealing with all that. Yeah, leukemia as well, guys. Leukemias are like blood cancers, you know. This is kind of the shit you don't want to be getting into, guys.
This is being done by design. It's also very, very addictive. But let's just go ahead and move away from aspartame and talk about McDonald's.
I love McDonald's.
And chicken McNuggets. Now, I remember a decade ago or so reading health advisories claiming that a form of plastic that's used in silly...
I remember that back in like primary school. They used to say McNuggets had plastic in it.
Basically a type of silicone was in the chicken McNuggets, but also in many other TV dinners and other foods. It is illegal in every other nation in the world to add these chemicals in the food, but it's not in the United States. The big secret is all of this was done by design.
God bless America, man. They just allow everything. Here, thank God, living in Ireland and Europe, guys, we don't allow any kind of shit in our food. So
by the FDA. Look at all the drugs they've approved, and then it comes out later that they knowingly approve them when these drugs are causing heart attacks and cancer. In the Nuremberg trials, it came out that the Nazis were adding sodium fluoride to the water supply in the labor camps and death camps to make the population more docile and controllable. There had been hundreds of university studies before Hitler even came to power. This is a form of forced medication. They admit that 1 part per million of sodium fluoride more than doubles the chance of bone cancer in boys and men. As the public became educated in the last few decades, the government industry's response was to not just put it in water, but to start adding it to thousands of products, like children's water that's mixed with their formula or with their cereal. They started adding as much as 900 parts per million in things like powdered eggs. It causes reductions in IQ. It increases sterility or lack of fertility. And it's being added to so many of the daily staples that we consume. We'll get back to food additives in a moment.
Bad.
But first, I wanted to look at genetically modified organisms. Did you know for many years the American people have been eating cloned beef and pork, and now they're expanding out into other forms of meat? Let's look at salmon first. Major university studies conclusively have proven that the type of genetically modified salmon that is actually a cross species, they've mixed other animal genes in with it, that when this fish is introduced with wild natural salmon, within 40 generations, all of the natural salmon are extinct.
Jesus.
And
so like it eats off the other fish, it's really aggressive, I guess?
FDA approved this. And they're going to allow it to be released into the wild that isn't even a salmon. It is a cross-species chimera. It is a
Pig?
mixture like something out of the island of Dr. Moreau, something out of The Nightmare.
Jesus, this is crazy.
More than 85% of the corn now consumed in the United States, and it's also starting to trend that way in Europe and Canada, is genetically engineered. It grows its own pesticide within the corn kernels so that insects won't eat it.
Jesus.
If the insects can't eat this and live, what do you think is going to happen when lab rats or humans eat it? We have literally hundreds of studies showing that not just Monsanto's, but other major GMO companies' corn, that's the majority of corn we're now eating today in the United States, has been linked to organ failure in lab animals.
The corn leads to organ failure. Yeah, guys. Basically, like I said, eat whole foods, plant-based, meat-based. In my opinion, you can eat plant-based too, guys, but you're not gonna have much protein. So if you go to the gym, guys, you know what I mean. I'm actually looking freaking small today. Then yeah, definitely stick to meat, guys. You know what I mean. Beef.
Studies also show massive increases in sterility in rats and guinea pigs that are fed not just GMO corn, but GMO cotton seeds. Studies in India, Germany, and the United States have conclusively shown that when they feed the cotton seeds left over from the cotton crop from these genetically modified varieties, that the cows are having miscarriages, they are having low birth weights, or in many cases, they're simply dying. And what is in most processed foods? Genetically modified cottonseed oil. Major studies are also showing that genetically engineered crops are killing honeybees and monarch butterflies. But they don't stop there. Now they claim they're coming out with a genetically engineered mosquito that's malaria-proof that they're going to release in the open biosphere. The very genetic code of the planet is being butchered in a hostile corporate takeover. Many years ago, an executive from Monsanto was quoted in National Geographic as saying that that is their program, that they want to basically have their crops and their organisms take over the entire biosphere of this planet. And the major genetic engineer companies have focused mainly on 8 major food crops. Now they're expanding out into hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other plants.
What the
literally
hell?
Changing the genetic code of the planet. This is a genetic...
This channel is about to become the conspiracy theory channel from Jesse Ventura. We're taking up his new role, Irishman theories.
Dictatorship. This is genetic vandalism. And that's why the Rockefellers, the United Nations, and others have built these giant armored seed vaults all over the world, not just at the Arctic Circle. And they admit they're doing it in case all of this gets out of hand, that they'll have a type of Noah's Ark. So all these fake environmental groups, they never complain about this. They never talk about true environmental degradation. They want to put a tax on carbon dioxide that humans exhale, that plants respirate from and carry out photosynthesis with, as a way to shut down industrial society and control every facet of our lives. Jesus. That's the big secret. This is a population reduction program. It is an epidemic. The sperm count has dropped in the Western world exponentially. Even the government has been predicting within another generation, almost everyone is going to be sterile.
Yeah, I heard that. So it's like 1 in 5 men suffer from fertility problems. I think it's getting worse. I think it's more like 2 in 5 because this was made back 2013. So like that's 10 years ago, guys. I think it's actually way worse now. People are getting more unhealthy, more sick, more everything. So the worse it gets, the more fertility there is.
This is the globalist religion. This is their philosophy. They want the planet for themselves. The UN has said that their stated plan is an 80% population reduction. You've heard Ted Turner call us useless eaters and feeders and say that 80% of us need to be killed. You've heard Prince Philip.
Useless eaters and feeders. That's a big one. I've heard that before. That's basically they think like 80% of the world just give us no benefit whatsoever.
Philip say he wants to come back as a virus to kill the majority of the world population. Dr. Eric Pianka, Peter Singer. It's all over the news where they tell us that we should only have one child because more than one is bad for the environment and that the recession is good for lowering our carbon footprint. This is the big secret. We live in a scientific dictatorship. And the United States and England are the epicenter of this, and it's expanding worldwide. Remember all the secret testing, all the secret sterilization that went on in the United States and Europe. Remember what Hitler did. He learned all of that from the eugenicist and the Rockefeller family in the United States.
What?
This is a culture of death being pushed on you and your family.
Jesus.
And even if you think the world is overpopulated, you need to understand that you're being targeted by this as well. Targeted by design.
Uh-oh.
Recombinant bovine growth hormone in your milk, making 8-year-old girls go into puberty. They should be going into puberty at 12 or 13.
Yeah, so like the earlier you go into puberty, the worse it is, because it's like you're basically aging quicker. You know, it's not good. Your body is not naturally. Yeah, I think they said back like 10,000 years ago, people would go into puberty, male, female, 15, 16, 18 sometimes. Not that late is later is better, but because it could mean better, because people don't age as rapidly. It doesn't really make you, you know, like things like, you know, your hormones are very, very crucial for your body. So the less you have of those in your body, the more you have of those in your body, the more time you have, the better. So when you're going in later, it's better, but this is going in too early. So it's, your hormones going to be evaporated by the time you're 30, 20 almost. It's crazy.
Silicone in chicken McNuggets and hundreds of other processed foods. Aspartame, that is the feces of genetically engineered bacteria that has incredible health problems that have been proven.
Don't drink aspartame, guys. That's my one key to people. I know everyone's going to see me drinking aspartame drink and go like, oh my god, that has aspartame in it. I probably do the same shit as well, but I try to really, really limit that. Even though people are like, oh, I drink 12 Diet Cokes a fucking day. It's like, I'm telling you, that's not good for you, man. It just cannot be. It's not that it's not natural. If natural is good for you, that not, you know, because obviously it's a nature appeal to nature fallacy. Natural stuff's not always good for you. But if it's so, like, you know, being shown to be harmful, they say, oh, only at certain doses, that dose builds up in your body, guys. You know, it doesn't evaporate from your body. Like, you just drink it and then it just, you piss it out, or that stays in your body. I'm telling you guys,
think for yourself. It goes on and on. ABC News, this goes back 4 years ago. Viral meat spray advancing food safety. They spray a live virus on the meat to supposedly kill the bacteria. This is a live vaccine they spray on most of the meat you're consuming that you're buying from the store.
Ugh.
It gets even worse.
Uh-oh.
The petroleum distillates, or toxic waste that's left over from petroleum refineries that refine oil into gasoline, they take these tens of millions of pounds of toxic waste that's left over, the fluoride, the mercury, the lead, and they dump it on crops as supposed fertilizer. And what do crops like tomatoes and corn and potatoes do? They pull in all of those toxins out of the ground. In fact, scientists for many years have used plants to actually detoxify areas that have been contaminated. And those plants are pulling all of this up, and then you are eating it.
yeah, like lead is a big one, guys, that you gotta watch out for. You know, too much lead poisoning is not good. You can actually die like just straight away from lead poisoning. So be very careful of that. Don't eat too much.
That's why the Washington Post reported in January of 2008 that a major study found that nearly a third of the 55 popular brand name foods and beverage products were filled with mercury. Despite the fact that the people of Europe for over 20 years have fought off all the genetically modified wheat and corn and other crops being planted in their nation, now the EU is buckled and is accepting it. The United States is literally a testing ground for all of this. It's just automatically approved. And the people that work for these corporations, they're compartmentalized. They don't know what's going on. The people that work at these stores, they have no idea what's happening. This is affecting all of us. This is hurting everyone. Many different forms of cancer are growing by thousands of percentage points. Diabetes, all these different diseases. And in major studies, it's all been linked to the toxic additives that are in our food, our water. Yeah. And I haven't even had time to get into MSG. I mean, I've interviewed brain surgeons, neurologists, scientists. I mean, it just devastates the brain.
Yeah.
It's an excitotoxin.
MSG is like, it makes you excited, it makes you addicted to the product. You know, that's what's in noodles, you know, and stuff like that. That's why you can't stop eating noodles. It's not the fact that they're carbs, because carbs make you eat noodles, or make you eat more carbs. And the more carbs you eat, the more carbs you want to eat. So it's like, this MSG enhances. That's crazy.
It destroys the liver, and it is in tens of thousands of products.
That's crazy.
We can say no. We can stand up. But if you've got a neighbor giving fluoride water to their baby, please go over and warn them. If you got a neighbor that's sitting there eating MSG-filled chips, one after the other, warn them. You've got a responsibility. If you know people that are feeding processed foods filled with GMO, warn them. And for
GMOs, man, genetically modified organisms, genetically modified muscles.
For God's sakes, don't give it to your own children. If you want to kill yourself, that's your own business. But don't hurt your children. Don't do this, ladies and gentlemen.
This is a PSA, guys.
In closing, I want to talk about some positive things. Just 15 years ago or so, you couldn't find organic food anywhere on store shelves. And now, about half of what you see is organic.
Yeah.
Just a few years ago, all the milk had the growth hormone in it. Now it's hard to find milk that has the growth hormone in it because the consumers have spoken and said no. A few years ago, you couldn't find toothpaste that didn't have sodium fluoride in it. Now Tom's of Maine is starting to take over the aisle space and displace the other mainline toothpaste makers, where it says on the back, if you swallow this, call poison control immediately. Even Colgate is now putting out fluoride-free toothpaste. People are demanding that they not be poisoned, and they're finding out about what's going on. And so industry is starting to respond and at least give people who want a choice an option to not be forcibly medicated through the food and the water.
I love it.
You know cigarettes are bad for you.
Yep.
But just 20 years ago, the cigarette makers were getting up before Congress and saying it was a conspiracy theory that it was killing people. And then later...
This is the problem, guys. That, everyone's like, man, there definitely can't be like poisons in our food now because we would know about it. There'd be objections to it. Well, there was none objections. There was actually doctors saying that cigarettes were good for you back in the day. Now we know for a fact that they're bad for you. They cause cancer. Absolutely, 100%, no doubt about it. You may live, you may smoke 50 cigarettes a day, but you may live. But they do 100% alter your genetic code.
It came out in their internal documents. They knew it was deadly. Ladies and gentlemen, I've seen the studies. Much of what they're putting in our food and water is far worse than even cigarettes, as bad as they are. One of the biggest killers in this country. This is a covert, soft kill operation. We'll put a lot of links beneath this video so you can check out the facts for yourself. And I'm just begging you to do your own research and find out that one of the most dangerous places in the world is your grocery store and the tap water in your house.
Facts. Alright guys, there you guys have, man. That's InfoWars, Alex Jones. Hope you guys enjoyed that, man. I might start making a little bit of a different kind of channel, you know what I mean? Start promoting kind of stuff like that. That's kind of cool, just like PSAs and like helping people about food, things like that. Not like regular things, but just like food and stuff like that, you know? So, hope you guys enjoyed that, man. Don't eat GMOs, don't eat aspartame, eat whole foods, meat, fruit, and, you know, I don't eat veg, but meat and fruit, two good things. Love you guys all, and I'll see you guys in the next video, man. Peace.